Hi, my name is John Guess. I'm with Access Seminars, and the name of the workshop today is Coping with Stress, Strategies for Managing Transition. After today's workshop, you should be able to identify two things that stress you most. You should be able to identify 3 techniques to help you reduce stress, and you should be able to have a plan to manage stress into the future. Exactly what is stress? Stress is a stimulus that interferes or disrupts the natural equilibrium of an organism. In most cases, we always think of stress as something that's very negative. For instance, you go to the doctor and you are told that you have a serious illness. Or you go home and your wife tells you that she's leaving you for a younger man. Or staying on the home front, your husband comes in and says to the wife that he's very disappointed with all of the time that she puts into her career and he'd like a divorce. Stress isn't always negative. It's also positive. For instance, when you win the lottery, that's a wonderful thing to happen. You get a windfall, for instance, from the IRS, where you're told that you're getting a large refund because of an error that they made. Or on your job, you get a great promotion. So all of the time, stress isn't a negative thing. It can be positive. Our stress normally comes from 2 types of demands: work and home. And that stress, those demands on us at work and home are very stressful. They result in us creating certain kinds of anxieties. What types of stress are we talking about at home? Well, one of those stresses is caring for an aging parent, or another one is caring for a sick child. At work, we know it's a boss that you can't particularly communicate with. Or at worst, the stress is that jobs are being cut out from you. These demands at home and at work create anxieties for us all. There are 3 kinds of anxieties that we all have to face and manage. The first one is natural. Natural anxiety comes to all of us in managing day-to-day situations. For instance, you're in your car and you're on the freeway and you're in traffic and you're going to miss a meeting. Or you left your cell phone at home. These are things that are natural. They're managed. They don't go on to the next day. Then a second kind of anxiety that we face is a sacred anxiety. That's the anxiety that you know exists, that you have no control over. For instance, you're on a flight and there's the risk of it crashing, or you're in a car wreck. These are things that are anxiety producing, but they're things that you know are out of your control and you give them over to faith. Now, what's the really bad anxiety that we have? It's known as toxic anxiety, and that's the anxiety that exists when you just don't let things go. Our responses to toxic anxieties or normally psychological, emotional, or cognitive. And those are amplified by certain kinds of personality traits that we all have. If you're a perfectionist, if you think that if anything goes wrong in a job, it's because you had something to do with it, or you did something that was really done well, but you decide that it could have been better. You're a perfectionist. That only amplifies the anxiety you have and the stress that you have. If you're definitely questioning your own competence in a job, that you feel that you're not competent, that even when you're given accolades for a job well done, you decide that you're an imposter, that really you're faking it to someone. Or if you're the kind of person that is a people pleaser, you're the person who all of your self-esteem comes from the reaction of others. You're the kind of person who takes better care of other people than yourself. If that's the situation that you have, then we have to manage that stress that comes from those anxieties. And the way that we manage those anxieties, we can start with some simple things: diet and exercise. Diet, of course, we know is very important. And yet, when we're most stressed, it's when we eat the most unhealthy foods. Rest, simple things like rest. Rest is important. It's known to reduce stress. And yet, when we're in stressful situations, can't seem to turn the mind off. The choices that we make to take charge of ourselves can really come down to very simple things. For instance, just simply taking 10 breaths to just change your situation. Or to walk. Just take a walk, even if you're on the job. Or for some of us, to just go through some meditation on the job. This just doesn't take time, but it changes the environment that you're in. Today's environment is characterized by volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And the military, when they face unknown environments that they're about to go into, they call that VUCA. And what they do is they try to manage the change, the uncertainty that they have in those environments to reduce the stress and to increase the probability of success. But of course, that change means that you go through 4 different stages. First is denial. People who deny, oh, I'm not stressed, and they resist, for instance, doing their exercise or changing their diets. But somewhere along the way, you become open to workshops like this. Somewhere along the way, you become open to exploration and discovery. And then you take on hints from people, you change your diet, and then the last thing that you do is make a commitment to that change and reducing your stress. We've listed some resources for you to take advantage of, and we hope that you'll go on the internet to find other ones. But now it's up to you. What will you do? Will you come up with identifying those stressors that are involved in your life? Will you take the time to write down techniques that might help you reduce your stress? Your future is in front of you, and it's one that you can manage in the least stressful way.